Hello friends, welcome to the Legion Raid Detail Guide featuring BRELSHAZA. BRELSHAZA is a raid where you can enter at item level 1490, and per 2 gates the item level requirement increases to 1500 and 1520. The guide will cover BRELSHAZA Gate 4, let's get to it right away. I also want to give out a shout out to Mobalytics for helping me edit this video. They're also providing the written part of this guide, so if you want to check into details or use the cheat sheets, check the link out below in the descriptions. Gate 4 of BRELSHAZA Boss, the Genesis of Nightmare, has 3 different status based on its color. Every phase shift, the boss's color will randomly adjust to determine the wipe mechanic for each. The colors will change very often, and there are 3 wipes in total, along with 2 long stagger phases. It may sound complicated at first, but it provides enough time and telegraphs for the patterns, so if you pay close attention to the phases, the boss won't be as troublesome. Battle items recommended are Whirlwind Grenades and Time Stop Potion. Last slot can be Swiftness Rope to help your movement speed, but if you're okay with the movement speed, Marching Flags are also a good idea to help your party mates as well. If you find your team has sufficient stagger without the Whirlwind Grenade, Flame Grenade works really well to break away rooted players. Also, this boss is weak to light. Unlighted Salvation 12 or higher is a very good card set choice. The important HP lines to mention are 170 first wipe mechanic, 160 color change, 135 color change, 120 second wipe mechanic, 95 long stagger check, 65 color change, 55 third wipe mechanic, 40 color change, and 20 final long stagger check. First of all, the 4th boss has 3 different phases that rotates during battle: red, blue, and yellow. For people who are having a rough time distinguishing between the colors, some people recognize it by the texture patterns the cube has. The 4th gate starts as the cube being in one of those 3 colors. It is chosen randomly. Next phases are colors that do not repeat the previous shown ones. The cube will rotate all colors once. Then the boss will transform into a star shape at 95 lines for a long stagger. Afterwards, you'll repeat the 3 color phases again to another long stagger check. Since the rotations of the colors are random, you will need to memorize all 3 wipe mechanics for all colors. Let's go over the wipe mechanics per each color phase, starting with the red phase. Red wipe mechanic is the easiest one if everyone's alive, but if you have less than 6 people, it is impossible to execute the wipe mechanic. The mechanic starts with the boss rotating its head to a random spot while charging its laser. There will also be a small yellow platform created at the head section. If one player steps on the platform, the player gets rooted by a dome-shaped shield and won't be able to move during the whole mechanic. Then the boss will fire the laser to the dome-shaped shield. Make sure to double check who is chosen to be inside the dome shield. During the laser fire, there will also be a stagger check, so the 7 leftover players will need to stagger the boss to avoid the wipe. When you succeed the stagger check, the boss will drop 1 triangular prism looking buff nearby. 1 player will need to take the buff and enter the dome-shaped shield that was initially created when the mechanic started. After the second stagger check has been succeeded, boss will drop 2 triangular prism shapes this time. 2 more people will need to enter the dome shield after picking the triangle prism buff. Then the last 3rd stagger check will start. When you succeed the last stagger, the boss will drop 2 more triangular prism nearby. 2 more players need to successfully gather the buffs up and enter the dome shield. The boss will fire the final laser and finish the wipe mechanic. Players who are staggering can't get hit by the head attack laser. Some head attack classes try to stagger on the head for the bonus stagger, but they wipe the party sometimes if they get hit by the laser. So it is safer to stay at the back if you're not used to the attack range. Only the first stagger check has high points to cover. All the staggers after tend to be much weaker, so do not panic and stagger safely. Blue phase wipe mechanic is much easier to execute if you pay attention to the minimap. The minimap is divided by 4 different sectors that can be identified by 4 different colored and numbered pillars. These pillars are colored green, white, blue, and magenta. When blue mechanic starts, square 3D shapes will appear on each sectors, and they will all have a stagger check. If you succeed the stagger check on the cube, it will explode and provide shield to the nearest 2 players. Players who have failed the stagger check, or have not received the shield, will get killed from the explosion attack the boss will do afterwards. The shielded players won't be killed from the explosion, but one of them will be rooted, and the other will receive a quick time event to get out of the rooted state. The player who received the quick time event will need to succeed the minigame and save the other rooted player by attacking them. Make sure to know that it's based on number of hits, not damage. The boss will also fire a series of instant death lasers a few seconds after the explosion. Since it prioritizes the players who are rooted, all quick-time events and saving rooting players must be done as quick as it can. The boss can also fire additional lasers if quick-time events are finished late. So always be careful and expect the boss may do additional lasers. Korean pugs tend to predetermine all positions for stagger check and group up by parties before the explosion happens to save each other much faster. Fire grenades are really good as well. They provide fast multi-hits to free the players very quickly. Yellow face white mechanic starts from the green and blue pillars from the minimap. When the yellow-white mechanic starts, there will be a large spear spawning near the end of the green and the blue pillars. Also, purple spear turrets will spawn beside to them as well. They'll be firing a series of projectiles to hinder your mechanic execution. This 3D sphere object needs to be destroyed quickly, and you require about 1 to 1.5 major DPS skill to destroy them, so supports cannot destroy it. Pugs often choose responsibility on who breaks it beforehand, and when it gets destroyed, the nearest player upon break will receive a special yellow shield buff. Afterwards, the spear will spawn another small yellow orb that will be dragged towards the boss. If anyone intercepts this yellow orb, a large platform will appear under their feet, and they will also receive the same yellow shield buff. Pugs also choose responsibility on who intercepts the buff as well. This special yellow platform provides additional stagger bonus. So the other two members of the party will need to stagger the boss while standing on top of the yellow platform. The platform will knock everyone out as soon as the third person steps in. So it is crucial for the initial yellow orb receiver to get out of the platform before the staggering players go inside. The players who has received the special yellow shield buff will need to stand close to the purple spear turrets to block the projectiles for the staggering players. Frequent causes of the wipes are usually done by the orb destroyer being too slow, or intercepting the yellow buff too early, and third person accidentally stepping into the yellow platform to knock out everyone off the platform, which results into slower stagger. As long as people focus on their responsibilities and execute the mechanics step by step, there won't be an issue getting through. You can utilize the party names to help you organize your party roles. You can change it by pressing the cogwheel on the party window UI. For example, blue and magenta for party 1, green white for party 2. So first two people of party 1 are assigned for blue, and the other two are assigned for magenta. Remember, blue and green need to be separated per party because you need to execute the yellow-white mechanic from these colors, and it's easy to separate it by party. All of the colored white mechanics will happen at 170, 120, and 55 lines. The color rotations will reset after the 95 long stagger check, so 55 line white mechanic can be the same ones that happened at 170 or 120. If you have passed the white mechanics and pushed the HP bar to 95, the boss phase will get a 99% damage reduction buff with a large time dial spawn under it. Your goal is to stagger the boss until the time dial runs out, or it will cause a wipe. The normal attacks are enhanced as well, so make sure to dodge and apply as much stagger damage as you can. If you're not confident, Whirlwind Grenade is always a good choice. When you successfully pass the long stagger check, the boss will change colors 3 more times, with next white mechanic being 55 lines. Afterwards, the same long stagger will happen one more time at 20 lines before killing the boss to finish the gate. Next topic is additional white mechanics that boss has throughout the gate. For each color phase, the boss has special patterns that can cause wipes if players tend to fail at executing them. Each fails will give a special stack to the boss, and 10 of these stacks will cause an immediate wipe. Only Esther and Nanna can delete these stacks, and higher stacks will also cause the boss to do more overall damage to you. Make sure to keep this stack at low at all times. Let's go over these special mechanics that causes the boss's stacks to go up. During red phase, the boss will spawn yellow lasers to everyone, like Deskaluda lasers. Afterwards, a small yellow projectiles will fly slowly towards the boss. All players need to intercept each of their projectiles to prevent the boss to gain a stack per each missed projectiles. You need to give sufficient spaces between everyone, because you will die instantly if you take more than one projectile. During the blue phase, sometimes everyone will receive a large warning sign that a large square flame pool will spawn under their feet. If you stand on top of these created pools, you will consistently provide one stack to the boss. The pool itself does not provide stacks immediately upon spawning, so most pugs in Korea gather up in one spot or the far edges to provide enough spaces to move around in the map. During the yellow phase, there will be a large horizontal wall that splits the map in two. If you walk up to the wall without proper iframes, like spacebar, you'll get feared and provide one stack to the boss. As for some additional special patterns, Whenever the boss changes colors, there will always be a scripted pattern attack. The boss will also be in damage reduction, so make sure to focus on dodging the patterns, then dealing damage to the boss. When the boss changes colors to red, it will fire lasers from its sides twice. It will also rotate in the second attack, so as long as you stay and follow the corners, you're safe. When the boss changes colors to blue, there will be a large square-shaped explosion. You'll need to stay very far away from the edge to dodge the explosion. When the boss changes color to yellow, a series of purple projectiles will spawn. These are not much special, and they don't do much damage. Let's also talk about normal patterns in detail. The normal patterns on gate 4 are very important. Not only does a lot of damage, but it also knocks you out of the map. Problem is, if you step outside of the stage, you will constantly get an Erosion Debuff. Erosion Debuff will damage you and darken your sight per stack. At 7th stack, most classes on eye level will die due to incoming near-death damage. This debuff can be removed by Inanna, but everyone should focus on not getting knocked out or step outside by accident while dodging the patterns. Here are the list of important patterns you should know. Pizza pattern. This is the basic fundamental pattern that consistently comes out throughout the whole fight. The boss will often use a pizza pattern that fills up the map. There will also be a telegraphed 3 ring explosions as well. Most pugs identify as 1 inner ring, 2 middle ring, and 3 outer ring. You will need to dodge the pizza explosion while dodging the ring explosions as well. The ring explosion is decided as random in hard mode, but in normal mode, the safe spot is an easy 1, 2, and 1 back, meaning you need to stay close, then middle, then move back close again for most pizza patterns. Only the blue pizza pattern is targeted to the player, so it is important to control the flow of attacks and stay grouped or give sufficient spaces to let people dodge comfortably. If you happen to be in a rough situation due to players' positioning during this blue pizza phase, you must use a time stop to avoid sudden deaths. Deskaluda Meteors. During this normal pattern, there will be various meteors will spawn around the map, along with laser identifiers pointing at various players. The laser is the pathing indicators for purple orb projectiles that will damage and push you back. Sometimes if you're unlucky, you will get chain stunned by the purple orbs, along with getting hit by the meteors for sudden deaths. Battle items like swiftness ropes and time stop helps a lot here. And as for supports, this is a very good timing to use your shields and damage reduction buffs when this normal pattern starts. 360 root scan attack. Along with the ding sound, the pattern will start. You will notice a total 8 small blue orbs spawning around the map. If you take the orbs, you will be able to block 1 incoming rooting scan. Afterwards, you will need to identify the safe spots and dodge the follow-up attack. If you happen to get hit by this scanning attack, you'll be rooted. The boss will aim its laser if you're rooted as well. It's not an instant kill laser, but on eye level it will kill most classes. Also, if you initially get hit by the scanning attack, it has danger of spreading out to the other players as well. So if you think you'll get hit by the scanning attack, it is important for you to stay away from other party mates to not root them as well. Rooting pizza scan. The boss will telegraph 3 different safe spots, then proceeds to scan the area. You will need to memorize the safe spots and dodge the scans. Problem is, if you get hit by this scan attack, it has an AoE that can spread to other players as well. So if you happen to see yourself not making the safe spot, it is actually safer to get hit on purpose far away and hope for your teammates to unroot you afterwards. This scan attack cannot be iframed or dodged by any CC immune skills. Reflect. The boss will spawn 2 red satellite beam that will rotate slowly. Just like Falcon Reflect, if you stagger the boss when this happens, it will explode and knock everyone out. This can be iframed at the right timing if you happen to see your party mate doing a stagger attack to activate the effect. Debuff Pools. The boss also gives debuff pools to random players. They're different per color phases. Red phase will create a laser line damaging pool that is created towards where you're facing at. Blue phase will create a single large square explosion under your feet. Yellow phase will spawn multiple lightning bolts above your head that will paralyze you. Additionally, the normal patterns get enhanced during the long stagger phase at 95 and 20. Here are the 2 major patterns that you need to watch out. Enhanced pizza. During the stagger phase, the pizza pattern is enhanced. The first 2 telegraphs will happen twice. For example, if the safe spot is 3, 1, and 2, outer, inner, and middle, it will be a combination of safe spots being 2 outers, then 2 inners, and then 1 last middle. Spinning lasers. Sometimes the boss will spawn series of turrets that will fire lasers at clock or counterclockwise. The turrets by themselves won't damage as much, but sometimes multiple turrets will overlap and cause a sudden death. So make sure to check which direction the lasers are spinning. Lastly, topic for side rails. You can use all three esters for BRELSHAZA Gate 4. Ninive is often used for lack of damage, Wei is used for stagger, and Esther Inanna is used to remove debuff stacks to prevent team wipes. It is up to the raid leader to utilize side rails based on the fight situations. A well-known Esther trick is where you use Ninive to force wipe mechanics. For example, color change mechanic starts at 135, but a wipe mechanic starts at 120. If you can carve away more than 15 lines total adding Ninive during a long normal pattern, you can skip the color switch and force a wipe mechanic on the current color of the boss. As for Inanna, you'll need to communicate with your teammates if someone has too much erosion stacks. You will need to use Inanna to increase party member survivability. As for boss's penalty stack, you can check its UI under the HP to determine if you have to use Inanna to remove the stacks. Usually most raids use Inanna when boss is at 5 or 6 stacks because it's too risky to have the stacks any higher. Inanna is often used during the 95 or 20 long stagger phase because it protects the players from the normal patterns to easily stagger the boss while on top of Inanna's buff. With that, this concludes the Gate 4 guide of BRELSHAZA. BRELSHAZA Legion Raid is very long with 6 gates. Since reward points are saved for 2 gates, feel free to take a break anytime to avoid unnecessary pressure. As always, thank you everyone, and good luck. Bye!